So, let's talk about one of the toughest career jumps you can make, going from a rockstar general manager to a multi-unit leader. It's a huge leap, and honestly, the very skills that made you a star might be the exact things that are about to hold you back. Let's dig into why.
So you did it. You got the big promotion. And why? Because you were an amazing general manager. You knew your store inside and out, you crushed your numbers, you got results. But here's the crazy part. What if that expertise, the thing that got you here, is now your biggest roadblock?
And that leads us right into what we're calling the promotion paradox. It's this core conflict that every new area coach runs into. And just understanding it is the first, most crucial step to getting past it.
Let's just be super clear about this. The skills that make you a great GM are not the same ones you need to be an effective area coach. Seriously, your old playbook, it's pretty much obsolete because you're playing a whole new game now.
Here's the shift in the simplest way I can put it. You don't run a store anymore. You lead leaders. See the difference? You're not the star player on the court anymore. You're the coach for a whole league of team captains. Your job isn't to fix the daily problems. It's to develop the people who do.
So, what happens if you don't make this mindset shift? Well, you fall into a super common, really dangerous pitfall. Let's talk about the #1 mistake new multi-unit leaders make, falling into the super GM trap.
This is it. This is the big one. The super GM is that leader who walks into a store and just can't help but try to be the best operator there. Instead of coaching and growing their GMs, they become the firefighter-in-chief, the one person everyone calls for every single problem.
I mean, does any of this sound familiar? You're visiting a store, you see a long line, and bam, you're on the register. A manager can't figure out the schedule, so you do it for them. There's a team conflict, you jump in to play mediator. You're just constantly putting out fires. And yeah, it feels really productive, right? But this superhero routine is actually hurting your teams, and it's killing your career.
And this is where it really starts to hurt in the long run. First, your managers, they stop thinking for themselves. They just wait for you to give them the answer. They become dependent. Second, you are going to burn out. It is physically impossible to be everywhere and fix everything. And third, and maybe worst of all, you don't build a leadership pipeline. Nobody is learning how to solve problems on their own, so you've got no one to promote.
The way out of this trap isn't to work harder or faster. It's to think differently. The solution is a really deep fundamental mindset shift from being a manager of tasks to becoming a true leader of people. So let's look at the difference side by side. As a GM, your world revolved around tasks and control. Things like scheduling, inventory, daily checklists. But as an area coach, your focus has to shift completely over to people and building their capability. We're talking coaching, developing talent, and building systems so that other people can win. And this really gets to the heart of a huge leadership principle. Your success is no longer measured by what you can get done, it's measured by what you can accomplish through others. Your main job now is to be a multiplier of talent.
Okay, so we get the mindset shift, right? But what do you actually do? How do you make this real? Let's get practical and look at your new playbook, the 5 pillars of multi-unit leadership.
These 5 areas, people, operations, culture, metrics, and accountability, this is your new North Star. Instead of getting sucked into the weeds every day, you have to lift your head up and focus your energy on these strategic pillars. So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, for people, it means you're always developing your GMs, not just giving them a score. For operations, your job is to protect the brand's standards, not jump on the line to make the food yourself. For culture, you become the walking, talking example of what excellence looks like. For metrics, you're analyzing high-level trends, not just freaking out about today's sales. And for accountability, you make sure expectations are crystal clear, and you always follow up.
All right, all of this leads to the one skill you absolutely have to master. The one action that makes all these pillars work. And it's this. You have to learn to coach, not just fix. So think about your store visits. They're about to look totally different. You don't just walk in and start pointing at everything that's wrong. No, there's a process. You observe what's really happening. You ask really thoughtful questions. You work with the manager to figure out the root cause. You coach them on how they can solve it. And then you follow up to see how it went.
And this is the magic right here. This is what coaching actually sounds like. It's about sparking an idea in your manager, not just giving them the answer. It's about helping them draw their own map to the solution. And it's about building a real partnership. So instead of saying, you need to do this, you start asking powerful questions that guide them to the plan. This is how you build leaders who can stand on their own 2 feet.
You know, when you really make this leap from fixer to coach, from manager of tasks to leader of people, your entire definition of success starts to change. You start thinking bigger about your long-term impact, about your true legacy.
And if there's one thing to remember from all of this, it's this right here. This is the mantra. Great area coaches don't build great restaurants. They build great leaders, who then go on to build great restaurants. Your job isn't the store anymore. It's the leader of that store.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought. The big question you need to ask yourself every single day has to change. It's no longer just, how are my stores performing? The most important question, the ultimate measure of your success is now, how are my leaders growing? That's the real win.